Good evening. So as at least some of y'all may know, the school year is coming to a close. And this past couple weeks, I've been helping people move out of the dorms and store their stuff over the summer, as I usually do. And through that process, we often have to take apart furniture. So that means in the fall, we have to figure out how to put it back together. And as you might imagine, the owner's manuals for these things are long gone. The instructions lost a few hours after they were first assembled, and so when we put the things back together, we kind of just have to take an educated guess. And so we set out with a pile of bolts and nuts and screws and dowels to try to assemble these faux wood, disintegrate in your hand specials. And unfortunately, to our dismay, when we get them put back together, we're often left with a pile of leftover fasteners. And I like to call these bonus bolts. You see, because the furniture, it's clearly in one piece, maybe suspiciously shaky, but it's in one piece, and so clearly those bolts were completely unnecessary and a bonus to you from the manufacturer to add to your miscellaneous bolt collection. And even though these masterpieces of dormitory engineering are not exactly the most sturdy things in the world, they somehow make it through yet another year of abuse, only to be disassembled the following year and reassembled the next year with even fewer fasteners. And that makes taking the seniors' furniture apart quite a breeze. In fact, I think a strong breeze would take those things apart quite well. There's hardly anything left, and usually they go straight down the stairs, right into the scrap heap out back, having no possibility of being used again whatsoever. And just like we have no manual for this shackly furniture, we might be able to make it through life without an instruction manual. We might just barely make it in life with loose legs and feeble footing, just kind of hoping to get through it. But in the end, even if we do make it through life in that state, will we have truly gotten anywhere? Lived life to its full purpose, be prepared to enter a good destination, have any sort of purpose? Or will we be like the dorm room furniture that just got thrown right out back into the scrap heap, into the dumpster right behind the dorms? Well, as far as our lives go, I certainly think not. If we look at Matthew 7:24 through 27, where the Lord talks about insecure structures, Matthew 7:24 through 27, "Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams arose, and the wind blew and beat on that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams arose, and the winds blew on that house, and blew and beat against that house, rather, and it fell with a great crash." It seems like the fall of a poorly built structure is inevitable, both from what the Lord tells us and from what we see in our own daily lives. But as far as our lives are concerned, whether that fall is in this life or as we're entering the next, it really doesn't matter when, only that such a fall will occur without making sure that all of our bolts are in the right place, torqued to spec, none of them left out or in your bolt bucket. Because otherwise, we will be like the seniors' furniture that collapses at the drop of a hat at a slight breeze, and our collapse will be great and will be final, and will be destined for the proverbial dumpster out back of the dorm. And so how might we make sure that that is not the case for our life, that all of our bolts are actually tight and in the right places? Well, we look no further than the passage that we just read. Oh, maybe it's my phone causing that interference. We look no further than the passage we just read. We hear the words of the Lord, and with a willingness in our hearts to do them, we put them into practice. We read the instructions, and we do what they say. Then we'll be, as Psalm 119 describes, blessed. Blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his statutes and seek him with all their heart. But, as we have just discussed, of course, to be one of the blessed, we must first obey. And the first step in that obedience is coming to the Lord, learning what the instructions are. And if we can help you with that or with any other spiritual need this evening, please come as we stand and as we sing.